Greetings, fellow humans, and welcome to another Think Walk. Today's episode is brought to you by Walk a Walk. No, actually, today's Think Walk is brought to you by a topic suggested by the wonderful Kate Evans. I'd like to give a shout out and thanks for the topic. Um, what happens, or what do you do when you have a crisis in your abilities? I can speak specifically from a writer's perspective, but I think most of this can apply to any skill that you employ. As a writer, there are days where you question your abilities, whether it's worth it, stuff of the sorts, because we're human, and sometimes we don't feel that fantastic about either what we're doing or lack of movement in sales or a bunch of things. In my case, topic and a word that you're gonna hear a lot about is sustainability, because to me success as a writer would mean that I generate enough income from my writing that I can exclusively dedicate myself to writing, and I am so far away from that. And it's not to say that I don't sell books, it's to say that I can't even live off ramen for a year with what I earn. That might be saying much. Ramen is pretty cheap. But far from sustainable. It's not like I can pay rent with what I write. Uh, so crises sometimes happen. Sometimes you wonder what you're doing wrong. Is it worth it? Why don't people read more? Why don't people review more? Why is it so hard? That's actually a common question. Why is it so hard? If it were easy, anyone would do it. As the first answer, you always have to remind yourself. And the second thing is that you're not doing it for the money. Yes, you want money. Yes, you want sustainability, but that's not your driver. At least that's not my driver. I know people for whom that is the driver, and that's a scary proposition, because the effort you have to put into your writing, into your promotion, into whatever you have to do to be successful is daunting. So at least in my case, I changed the focus for two reasons: for peace of mind and to focus on impact rather than revenue. I put a lot of effort into everything I do, and sometimes it takes some effort to not get frustrated at something not getting likes or not getting read or anything, because part of all of this is ego, and anyone who says otherwise is completely full of it. Yes, I'm maybe interested. No, we want to be read. We want people to enjoy what they read from us. We want people to be moved and shocked and impressed and surprised, and enough of that so that they can see another person at the water cooler and say, you know what I just read? And that's part of the dream. Part of the dream is to write something that people go, wow, I'm impressed. Because our inner child doesn't only just want to play. Our inner child also wants recognition. And some days, man, it's tough, because self-doubt is a very creative bastard. The amount of resources self-doubt has, it can get you because you can tackle certain types of self-doubt. You can go, oh, okay, and you can reason past that. But self-doubt it's like water leakage. No matter what, it can get in through any other way, and you need a good sealant. The sealant, the main sealant is self-validation, where your reaction to what you write has to be enough, or has to be enough for you to keep going. I have 2 novels out from the human cycle, Only Human, Shadow of a Human. And, a lot of, I'm hundreds and probably thousands of hours have gone into writing those books. And it's not like they've taken off. People read them and they enjoy it. People say, oh, this is nice, they're impressed. But it's not like it's flying off the shelves. It's not like it can lean back and, chill. I wrote a YA short story collection. And between all the websites, I don't think it gets to 3 reviews. And again, a lot of love has been put into it. People would say, oh, but the short stories are available for free on your blog, and I completely get that. That's why I did a whole series of young adult poems at the end. And although I'm going to do a young adult poetry collection, there are young adult poems at the end of the daydreams, related to the daydreams. And it's got very little movement. With poetry, what expectations can you have of poetry? People say, oh, poetry doesn't sell, so my driver with poetry is not selling. And with the bilingual collection, I'm actually extremely proud of that collection. And it's not exactly flying off the shelves. And I really think I did a great job. People say, oh, you're often optimistic or positive, and you just keep going. And you keep going, because I don't want ego to get in the way of what I love doing. And that is so massively important, because as a writer, getting a bruised ego it can be actually pretty easy, and it can be actually very frightening if something as simple as that can bruise the ego to the level that you'll stop writing. And a lot of people do stop writing, and it's a shame. I'm not saying that writing is going to teach you to have a tough skin. I'm saying that it's better to get a tough skin when you write and to focus on the work. I work on several projects simultaneously for that very reason as well. First off, it's the way that I'm wired. I have to be working on more than one thing, because if not, I'll obsess with one thing and probably prompt myself to get blocked. And I rarely, if ever, get blocked, because if I'm not feeling one project, I'm feeling another. But the temptation to cave in to self-doubt, to question your abilities, like, are you good enough? That is an awful question that pops up. Is it good enough? When is it good enough? For whom is it good enough? And we can, as writers, we can obsess over that. Because in other sports, the measure of that is either you won the competition, you scored the most points, you got a medal. In writing, it's not that there are awards, but it's a lot tougher to win them. It's a lot tougher to earn your keep, to make money off of what you write. Like I said, I have 8 titles, and it's not like cash isn't flowing, I'm not extremely buoyant due to that type of writing. And yeah, I have awful days. I have awful days where I'm just so frustrated. Haven't gotten a sale, haven't gotten a review. And when it all boils down, no one owes you anything. You should expect nothing from anyone. And I'm not saying that to take a pessimistic stance or even standoffish, like, yeah, no one has to read me. No, seriously. In life, and not just in writing, in life, no one owes you anything. Anything you get is a blessing. Anytime anyone invests in what you write, be it free, be it on sale, or be it at full price, it's a blessing. And you have to treat it that way, because otherwise you will get frustrated very easily. And second off, you will overestimate your value. You know, it's not like I'm the next J.K. Rowling, in the sense that it's not that I don't have the talent, but she had to bust her ass to get to where she was. She had to walk through fire. She had to look herself in the mirror and say, I believe in what I'm writing. I believe in what I'm writing. That's always the takeaway from her. That's why she's someone I respect and admire so much, and is a recurrent person that I mention. Neil Gaiman is my other favorite author. And if there's anyone who's, rolled and flowed with the punches, it's that guy. He's always been working on something. He never stops at all. He always pushes himself. He always goes, beyond his point of comfort. If there's anything that tickles his fancy, he goes for it. And he's not, he's gotten to that level but it took years. J.K. and Neil are in their 50s. This was not overnight success. And a lot of people have that expectation of overnight success. And that's the other thing. They have expectations. This is a common thought I've seen in a lot of people. And as an indie author, let me be the first one to pop that bubble. They look at their Facebook list and they say, oh, I have 600 people and 600 friends that follow me. That means I'm going to sell 600 books. Let me be the first to tell you that's not going to happen. It's not that people won't support you, but it's not a guarantee that people are going to read you either. 600 people is a lot of people. And a lot of people operate under that mindset. My entire family is going to read it. All my high school class is going to read it. These people are going to read it. And that's just setting yourself up for so much hurt and so much disappointment. Not because these people don't care about you. Not because these people don't believe in you. Not because these people don't respect you for the effort that you're making. But because by the nature of the beast, let me do a quick run, crossing the street. By the nature of the beast, of those 600 people, the first time you publish something, if 6 people read your book, you're golden. And that's something a lot of people have to take on board. Maybe more people are going to read it. But if you have those expectations, you're setting yourself up for disaster. Because what happens if you publish a book and no one on your Facebook page reads it? And no one in your family reads it? What if you do an event and people don't go? A lot of people would say, oh, it's not worth it. and they would enter crises. They would question their abilities, and it would all go downhill from there. It is actually a very real proposition. It's scary as well. It's scary to tell people, oh, it's very possible no one's going to read you. But it's better to say that than to say, oh, you will be guaranteed that people are going to read you. And people are going to share you. People are going to like your post. And odds are actually quite higher that the people that you know will start reading you after you've been at it for a while. And here's what I mean about that. I do believe that anyone can finish and publish a book. It's not easy, but with a little bit of patience, a lot of elbow grease, and a couple of clicks, you can publish your own book. Anyone. Not anyone can continually keep writing, deliver more books, continue promoting themselves for the long run. And that's the difference between people who make it and people who break. I'm not saying that I'm badass. I do have awful days. I have awful days where I'm just so frustrated as a writer, as a person, as everything, because, you know, one can have those hypersensitive days where you need chocolate. Okay. But at no point have I said, is this worth it? Should I stop doing this? At every step of the way, instead I ask myself, what am I doing wrong? What can I do better? How can I get to more people? That's super key. And another thing is support. I do operate under the golden rule: treat others as you would have them treat you, or some other phrasing. Not sure which version of the phrase you're familiar with. But yeah, if I read anything that I read, even stuff that I haven't enjoyed, I've reviewed. And I took that stance about 1.5 to 2 years ago. First off, it helps me remember what I read, so I don't just just leaf through a book and not really take it in. I think it's a good discipline, and it also helps me with retention. And also by reviewing it, I get to understand better how I felt about the book. Second off, I don't bash anyone in my reviews. I may not enjoy a book, and there's actually a book that I didn't enjoy and I gave a 2-star review. But by the end, you're offering support to this person. And the answer to that is yes. Because even though I didn't like the book, that doesn't mean that my judgment is the sole judgment of this. But it's been plenty of occasions where I read a book, I retweet a book, I review a book, I share a post of an author, and I don't get the love back. And people go, oh, that's not fair. And if you take 2 steps back, you have to analyze why you're doing it. If you do a review, if you do a retweet, if you do anything expecting anything in return, you're not doing it for the right reasons. But that's my opinion. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. Anyone who has reviewed my book, I have picked up the book, I have read. If I haven't loved the book, I've made a comment of my review, or I work around it and I leave something. But not everyone does that. Not everyone's gonna like what you write or what you do in life either. That's another key component. But I don't say, oh, I left 6 reviews, so there's 6 reviews coming my way. I've learned the hard way that that's not the case. And it's not that it's a bad thing, it is what it is. And again, I do the reviews so that I can get a better grasp of what I read. And, I do know how hard it is to get reviews, so without being asked, I give a review. And I review classics, and I review indie authors, and I review everything that I read. Because if I read it, I'm going to review it. And there's things that I'm actually going to reread so I can do the review. So expect reviews of Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland and Looking Glass and Wizard of Oz and all those other things. Because I noticed that I didn't review those books, and I'm like, well, that means you have to read it again. If it was a crap book, I'm not going to do it again, obviously. But these books I enjoyed. But the key message there is, if you do something, do it just for the sake of it. If you support someone, do it because you're a fan, not because you're bartering support, not because you're saying, here's something, give me something back. Because, again, you're setting yourself for disappointment. In the end, the less expectations you have, the better. And it's not because you should be pessimistic. Oh, I shouldn't expect anything. No, that is not the message either. The message is to look at your path and say, okay, I want to write. Why do I want to write? In my case, I want to tell a story. And I want to share creativity, and I want to inspire other people. And I want to show something new. I see Hollywood doing reboots and retakes and remakes, and I hate it. And I read books that it feels like someone was trying to write the next Twilight or the next Harry Potter or the next something that already exists, and I don't want that. Some people say, oh, everything's done. Everything's been created, and I hate that statement because it's bullshit, and it is not true. And every day is a challenge to look yourself in the mirror and say, I'm going to do something new. And with every time I put my pen to the paper, my fingers to the keys, I have that promise to myself and that commitment that I will always use all the information that I have within me to create something genuinely new. When people say you're going to be the next this or that, I would say thank you. And I always correct them that I say I'd rather be the best me that I can be. In what I write, the way that I behave, and the way that I conduct myself as a human, and as many other things. Does that mean that I am badass or perfect? Not at all. It just means that I am me, and that's enough. I don't need anything else. I need to read what I write and smile in the hopes that whatever strummed my heartstrings will resonate with someone else's soul heart. We are all instruments in this wonderful symphony of life. There are many notes that we're gonna share. And even though some of what I write does feel sort of familiar, it is a lot different. And to me, I can't ask for more. I can't ask for more than reading my own book and saying, wow, that was a good book. And I've had that happen quite a few times. And I do recommend that highly. Morning. Because in the end, if you do anything for anyone else, you're robbing yourself of the satisfaction of doing something just for you and just for the reason that it makes you happy. So whenever you have that crisis of faith, recenter and ask yourself, why are you doing what you're doing? And to me, the answer is very simple. I'm doing what I'm doing, I'm writing what I'm writing because I have to, and because it makes me happy. So till next time, peace, love, and maki rolls.